Hey, welcome back to the IMDb yacht, man. It's me, Kevin Smith. We're doing coverage from here at the San Diego Comic-Con 2016, all a weekend long. This man sitting next to me, without him, this doesn't happen. This would be like a Fuller Brush convention this weekend were it not for this man and all the beautiful work he's done for 75 years. This is his 75th anniversary in entertaining us as a storyteller. I don't have many heroes in life, kids, but y'all know it. I've been saying it for over 22 years. As soon as I got into business, I started singing this man's praises. Give it up for the one and only, the modern day Mark Twain, Stän Li, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I'll go along with that. Great.
Let's talk. So you're, as per usual, at Comic-Con this year. You are busy as heck. You always have a bunch of things to do. I just want to hit some of the points of the things that you're doing this year.
Well, my most important thing is being interviewed by you.
Exactly.
But I have to say, regarding your introduction,
Yes.
if you can't say something nice about somebody, cool it.
I know. I'm always trash talking you like that.
All right, go ahead. I don't want to mess up your interview.
You couldn't mess up anything. Let me tell you a little story about Stän Li. One of my favorite Comic-Con memories has to do with you. You're at the epicenter of it. I came to Comic-Con I've been doing Comic-Con for 21 years. How many years have you been doing it?
Forever.
Forever, since the beginning. I came here to the back of Hall H. I went to go do a show in the Hall H, the big room there. And when I got to the back, the first person I saw at Comic-Con was Stän Li. I was coming in, he was coming out.
I was probably selling tickets.
No, you had just come off of the stage from being you. And this is not too long ago, it was about 8 years ago. And so I said, Stän, we'd made the movie together, Mallrats and stuff, and I've known Stän for years. So I was like, Stän. And he said, Kevin. And we chit-chatted for a few minutes, and then he had to go, and I had to go inside. And Jason Mewes was with me, the guy who stands next to me in movies. And he was like, isn't that weird? You just got welcomed to Comic-Con by Stän Li. Like, what a great life you have. And the boy that I was and the man that I remain today, that means something, man. Like, you were the voice of my childhood even before I heard your speaking voice. I first heard your speaking voice on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends when you would do the narration on those episodes. But even before I heard it on an animated series, I knew that voice from reading it on the comic book page. You would always dive in as the editor and make notes and stuff like that. And then in Stan's soapbox, you would talk full length and be the ambassador for comics when people were still saying comics are for kids, this is it. You've been doing it for so long. Like, you built all this stuff. And I remember when I first heard your voice in that cartoon, I knew it from the page. I just knew it. It sounded in my head exactly as I imagined it would. Comforting, inspiring. Brilliant. And also, like, it's inclusive. Your voice has always come one, come all, beckoned everybody to this particular little corner of genre of storytelling that you've been doing for 75 years now. Do you remember the moment when you first picked up a pen and said, I think I could put together a sentence, I think I could write?
No, I never really said that to myself, but I did think of one thing. You are the most modest person.
Stop it.
Because you said that when you first saw me, you said we did this movie together, Mallrats, right? I had a little bitty role. You wrote it, you directed it, you starred in it, but you said we did it together. That's the kind of guy you are, and that's why, even though the whole world wants to interview me, I shoved them all aside, and I said, Kevin Smith gets priority.
Honestly, dude,
always with me.
You're adorable, thank you. And you always talk like that. You've always been very kind to me since I first got into this
And you need
business.
a lot of kindness.
I needed help, man.
I did my best.
Honestly, the only reason I'm still here is because you still vouch for me. But this is one of my favorite Stän Li stories in the world, and it has to do with Max. Max is your guy. He's always with you. Like Jay is with me all the time. Max is always with you. Stan came over to the house to do Fat Man on Batman, the podcast. Did a great episode of the podcast, and then when Stan was leaving, we have many stairs in our house, like 2 flights of giant stairs.
Oh.
And the floor in the house, it's not made of like marshmallow, it's got no carpeting, it's all tile, hard tile. So I'm walking Stan. Stan's like, you know, a very spry 50, as you could see. I'm walking Stan down the stairs because I don't want anything to happen. I spent any time around Stan making sure he don't fall because he's an icon. So we get down the first set of steps, and it's difficult because Stan won't just walk down the stairs. He's turning and talking to you while walking down these treacherous steps. And I feel
posing for the photographers.
Yes, and I feel like a parent because I'm like, turn around, hold the rail, turn around, look where you're going. So we get to the bottom of all of the steps, and all that's left is one tiny landing and then 8 steps to the door. And so I'm like, he's good. Like Max is in front of him and stuff. He's gonna make it. I can't baby him. He's a grown man. He'll get to the door by himself. So I stop at the stairs and I was like, Stan, excellent seeing you. I gave him a hug. I said, thank you for coming over. And he said, bye. And he turns around to walk away, and I'm like, amazing. We got him down the stairs. We have an elevator in the house. He refused to take the elevator because he was like, no, I got this. As soon as I turn around, as soon as he turns around, he goes off the stairs, and then he turns and goes, Kev, one more thing. And as he turns, he misses the step, and all of this breaks down into slow-mo. I watch Stan start doing the fall, and I'm sitting there going, no, not on my watch. And amazingly, before I can make a move, because I'm a fat guy, there's no way I would have been able to make it, Max just whoosh, came in and swept you, like boom, right into your arms. Nothing happened, man. Like I saw my life pass before my eyes, and you were like, I'm okay, spider friend, and you left. It was amazing. And that's you. That's been you your whole life. You've always been okay, spider friend.
I gotta tell you why you are such a great writer and director.
This is the mutual congratulatory hour.
A simple, nothing story and turn it into a $290 billion motion special effect.
No.
That was the most inspiring tale I've ever
You're
heard.
out of your mind. They have taken your stories and turned them into 200, 300 million, billion dollar grossing films out of characters that you created, in some cases, over 70 years ago. Mm-hmm. Never imagined it would be this, did you?
Never. I never thought I'd ever be sitting here being interviewed by Kevin Smith.
Stop it.
Oh, I wish my wife, I hope she's watching.
Stop it. Do you remember the first Comic-Con you went to? Do you remember when this began, when they started telling you to go down to San Diego?
No, I don't. I have no memory.
It's all gone at this
I've gone
point?
to so many of them, they've all homogenized together in my mind.
But that's been the beautiful thing about you my whole life, is you've always been out there like a marching band leader talking about this stuff. We're in San Diego. They call the San Diego Comic-Con is the celebration of the popular arts. You were celebrating the popular arts long before anyone else.
Before they were popular.
Before they were popular. You were celebrating the unpopular arts. And because you did that, look at what you've done. Look at how many imaginations you made fertile with your stories, to the point where, yes, now they turn your stories into movies, but all of these people can't do Marvel movies. Some of these people just read your stuff. You bred a nation of dreamers. 200,000 dreamers cram into this hall every year because of stuff you and your friends did a long time ago in New York.
I wish you would interview me more often.
I have interviewed you
I've
forever.
never been treated this well in my life. Go ahead, forgive me for interrupting. Keep going.
Let me just read a few things that Stan is doing here. iTunes, I love this because this is smart. You have one of the greatest voices on the planet, instantly recognizable. You came over to my house once for a poetry event.
Yes,
And you read
twice.
Twice you came over, man, and you read aloud "God Woke," that poem, and then you also did
The Raven.
The Raven, a beautiful rendition of The Raven. One of those things you're like, I had no idea I wanted to hear that until I heard that, and it was fantastic. Everybody loved you. Everybody was like, Stan Lee. So what you've done is on iTunes, you've released 34 ringtones that's voiced by you, famous phrases and classic alerts. So
I didn't know.
You did it. So essentially, it's like somebody's ringtone will be Excelsior, and it's your voice and stuff. You just keep moving and keep working and going everywhere. You'll even be invading people's phones. So you're viable, man. It's crazy how like the Stan Lee industry, not just Stan Lee the man, and not just Stan Lee the creative talent, but the industry that surrounds you is astounding. They can do things like just talk, and now we're going to sell this. How's that make you feel?
You notice I never interrupt when you're talking, and I'm the world's greatest interrupter.
I know.
But I could let you go on forever. How does it make me feel? I'll show you why I'm such a good interview guest.
Okay.
How does it make me feel? Nice.
It's all good, isn't it? Let's talk about this one, man. The Hollywood Reporter you've teamed up with to do a series of cartoons which are absolutely adorable, about 4 minutes in length, and they're funny too. They're legit funny. I'm not to say I know funny, but they made me laugh. Cosmic Crusaders, it's called.
Stan Lee's Cosmic Crusaders.
You may be the first guy who thought of that branding. My bad. Yes,
I didn't think you'd let me down then.
No, I did. I really dropped the ball. Stan Lee's Comic Crusaders. Cosmic Crusaders is what it's called. You can see it on Hollywood Reporter. It's all over. I've seen it all over Twitter, Facebook, of course, Instagram. You can check them all out. There's a whole series of them.
It's a new way to show superheroes.
Yes.
And the superhero legend, and miss it at your own risk.
And the premise, nicely done. The premise is that you voice yourself.
I'm in the show as Stan Lee.
Yeah.
That'll drive some people away, but those who remain will get a good show. What happens is, it never happened in real life,
right?
But I'm blocked. I can't think of an idea. So I go out to the desert where I can concentrate.
Okay.
And I see a spaceship crash land. And 7 people, or 5 or 6, I can't remember, they get out of the spaceship. And they all have superpower. And I figure I will turn them into a team, and I will let them work for me, and I'll sell all the licensing and merchandising. I'll make them heroes. Because to me, it's a get-rich-quick scheme.
Yes.
But to them, it's something different. And you got to see it to find out what it's all about. It's very funny, but it also touches the heart.
As
very
well.
much. Oh, you can imagine.
You're never going to stop writing, are you? You're always kind of creating.
You just said a dirty thing.
Yes, no doubt, right? Let me ask you this. I've known you for years, so I know a lot of stuff about your back history. In terms of writing, before you got to superheroes and stuff, one of the things you loved doing were the photographs where you do funny captions. Is that right?
That is so much fun to take photos. I did that at the last election, I think. You take a photo of a politician and you put a dialogue balloon of what it looks like he's saying rather than what he's really saying.
Right.
I've done that with photos of dogs and cats of politicians. The dogs and cats come first, then the politicians.
Right, in the pecking order.
It's fun. I like doing it. I like humor. I love doing anything that's why I like you. Despite the fact that you have so many other faults and failings, you have such a great sense of humor.
Thank you, sir.
I'm really very fond of you.
I know, it's sweet.
If you think I would sit up here for this length of time doing an interview with anybody else, you're nuts.
I know this for a fact. And I've leaned on you my entire career. When I first got into the business, they picked up this movie I made called Clerks. I was working with a fella named Jim Jacks, a producer on the movie Mallrats. And I'd done the first draft of Mallrats, and there was a character in the third act that was like a Stan Lee-like character who was going to give the TS, one of the characters, advice. So Jim Jacks read the script, and he goes, "Who is the guy in the third act supposed to be?" And I said, "It's kind of like Stan Lee, like somebody who I was kind of
who knows everything."
Everything, kind of like if in American Graffiti, Wolfman Jack shows up and dispenses wisdom. In our world, Stan Lee would show up and dispense wisdom. So I said, it's obviously not Stan Lee, but it's a Stan Lee-like person. And Jim Jacks goes, "Well, why don't you just make it Stan Lee?" And I said, "I don't know Stan Lee." And he goes, "Oh, I know Stan Lee. I'll ask him." And I was like, Hollywood is good. Like, people know each other. And they reached out to Stan, and Stan said yes. He was like, this is
the biggest cameo I ever did.
I know, in the beginning of all those cameos. Like, now you call Stan, he shows up for the big movies and stuff. We called him for a little movie nobody was going to hear of, and he came out to play. It was honestly like one of the greatest days of my young life, because after reading this man's work forever and championing him as a writer, I'm a writer too, so the idea of somebody bringing ideas, birthing ideas into the world, that's someone to me who is a hero. So
well, let me tell you,
I got to work with that guy, my second film out, and the movie died, and I always felt bad about that, because I'm like, if there was justice in the world, more people would have seen this movie and people would celebrate Stan Lee. But now we live in a world where even my mom is like, "Did you see the Stan Lee cameo in Ant-Man?" Like, everybody knows who you are. Those Marvel films have taught the rest of the world who weren't comic book readers to be comic book readers and know what to look for. Just like when I would read a Marvel comic back in the day, I'd be like, "Hey, there's Stan Lee doing an editorial. Stan Lee popped up in my comic." Now people that didn't grow up reading comics like me go to those Marvel movies like, there's Stan Lee. It ain't a Marvel movie unless Spider-Man's baby daddy pops up and then you pop up and stuff.
Let me tell you a funny thing. What I think is funny about the Mallrats movie. By the way, you are the greatest speaker that I know.
I learned from you.
But anyway, I had this role where I'm advising one of the guys in the movie, you know, don't feel so bad that you lost your girl. There was a girl I loved once and I lost her and I've never forgotten her. I'm trying to make him feel good.
Right.
So I go home after my wife sees the movie. The first thing she says, now tell me about that girl that you used. I said, honey, it was a movie. But ever since then, there's been that little bit of indecision on her part.
Where she's just like,
You've
I had no
ruined
idea.
my life.
Mallrats
You've
ruined so many lives, so you're not alone. It only worked out for the guy who plays Batman, that's all. Speaking of Mallrats and ruining lives, we're going to try to do it again. I made a deal with Universal TV to do a Mallrats series, which after Comic-Con we go out into the world and
That's
pitch.
wonderful.
I know, and of course Stan
Naturally.
Lee.
That's why I said it's wonderful.
Yes.
I want to get my oar in quickly.
Dude, you're in. I made you a big character, and at one point there's a big. It's going to be quite an acting stretch for you. There's a Comic-Con that you have to visit, and so that happens there.
Well,
But
hurry
there's-
up! Stop wasting time with this interview. Get to it.
Right to the
I
work.
don't
I
have
would
that
love
much
to.
time.
We're almost there. You have plenty of time, dude. Like that's the thing. When I was a kid, I was always like, "Wow, man, Stan Lee, he's way older than me." Now I'm an adult, and you're still way older than me, and you're still doing it. Like you make me feel like I could keep doing it for a long, long, long time.
And you'd better.
I'm gonna try until they kick me out, man. But honestly, dude, no lie, I've known you for years. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Stan professionally, but as a human being, you have so much character. It's so rarely in life that you can meet somebody who you've always looked up to and respected, and have them live up to your expectations. Not
Oh,
only did
even exceed them sometimes.
in this
Right.
case, you absolutely
Don't make
exceeded.
me have to feed you those words.
No, but thank you. I need the big words. I have the little 4-letter words. But you definitely exceeded all expectations and have done so, not just professionally, but for me personally, for over 2 decades, man. I'm like, it tickles me and makes my nipples hard to call you friend. I love knowing you. Thank you so much. I made him, he's speechless. He's like, why'd you have to bring up the nipples, Kevin? But you know what it means, man.
Kevin, I'm speechless, and I'm not often speechless.
It's true,
But
I
you
stole
are
it.
incredible, like the Hulk.
Come on, man. I want that on my grave. He was incredible, ... like the Hulk, Stan Lee. Thank
And we'll
you.
even throw another Excelsior after it.
I love you to death. This man, ladies and gentlemen, is my favorite human being on the planet. Give it up for the amazing, the inimitable, the sensational Stan Lee.
I'll go along with that.